Again, another beautiful look at the Olympic Training Center here in Colorado Springs. Along with Jim Heiser, I'm Jim Turner. Again, we're in the second game. Canada winning the first game. Brian Hawk's trying to make a roll here so he can take it into the tiebreaker. And because it's an international style game, it would go, if in the tiebreaker, to 15 points rather than the normal, what we're used to, 11 points.
Okay, Brian is way ahead on kills, and that's exactly the reverse of last game.
And a nice ace serve, too.
Unforced there.
It's 10-5, and the side out, so Sherman Greenfeld of Canada has the serve. Let's see if he can continue to confuse Brian Hawks with this.
Short.
Called a short serve. Sherman's not going to appeal it. Second serve.
Side out. Brian Hawks with the serve. 10-5.
Long serve. Tried that jam serve, just made it a little bit too long.
Second serve.
Long serve, meaning it bounces off the back wall. Second serve.
Hawk still leads in unforced errors, but that's because he's killing the ball, going for so many kills this game. As long as that kill ratio stays up there with that unforced error, he's going to take it every time.
2 dives in a row. 3.
2 bounces, though.
Good call. He says he couldn't get it. Cowboy,
that was a great rally.
Yeah, that was a terrific rally. You know, Brian Hawk's at 200 pounds. When he hits that floor, it's not going to feel very good on his body.
Once again, notice how every time when Brian dives, he goes for a defensive return, trying to get that ball to the ceiling so he can get back up again. He just couldn't get that one.
Waiting for the towboy to dry the spots, get him off the court. That's a very good safety feature. Just seems like Brian Hawks cannot pull away from Sherman Greenfeld.
5 serves 10.
He's playing so much better this second game, but just can't pull it away.
Well, that serve has not really given Brian too many problems. I think he's got used to it.
Time? You cannot call timeouts. The score's been called, Brian. Sorry. Yep.
Little technical point there.
In international competition, you cannot call a timeout after the score.
Says, I'll give it to him. I'll take the break.
5 serving 10.
Well, here's that overhead view again. Sherman going with the backhand serve. Nice shot.
Well, 6-10, second game.
Earlier we saw the Olympic rings, and a lot of people asked why the racquetball is involved with the United States Olympics, and we have Luc St. Onge, who's executive director of the AARA, with us, and maybe he could explain why we're there.
Yeah, Jim. Pretty fortunate. Yes, Mike.
Game 2 with Sherman Greenfeld. He is behind 6-10 as Brian Hawks is trying to push this one into a tiebreaker.
6 serves 10.
6-10.
Oh, no serve, no serve. Check the receiver.
Wasn't ready for that. Okay, Luke, I think we got your microphone working now.
First serve.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I had the pleasure of being in the down at the Pan American Games in Havana, Cuba. And at that point, racquetball was selected for Mar del Plata in 1995 on the schedule of the Pan American Games. And it's a big, big development for our sport. And we feel fairly confident we'll be exhibition sport in 1996 in Atlanta and full medal in the Olympic Games in the year 2000.
How did racquetball go in the recent Olympic Festival in L.A., Luke?
It was just great. We had about 80% tiebreakers of the 32 best players in the country. Better turn it back to you, Jim.
All right, Luke.
That was a great rally, behind the back retrieved by Sherman Greenfeld.
Yeah, hey, Luke St. Onge doesn't want that much airtime, but he really is the man of great vision for racquetball. Racquetball taking it on an international venue that we have right now, the Pac Rim when we went to Hawaii, the outdoor championships that we do, the Junior Olympics, and I think everybody who loves this game owes Luke St. Onge a great hoorah, if you will, a standing ovation, and I have no doubt that down the road this will be and should be and deserves to be an Olympic event.
10 serving 7. Once again, though, Sherman got caught way in the front court and out of position. Sherman didn't get that. He calls 2 bounces on himself. 11-7.
11-7. Game goes to 15. Brian Hawks trying to throw this in to a tiebreaker, the third game.
Judges.
Short serve appealed by
Call
Brian.
stands. That's 1 used. You have 4 left.
Call stands. That means he used 1 of his 5 appeals.
Second serve. It's all right.
Second serve, 11, serving 7. There's that right hand unforced error. But this game, Brian's been going for it, and he's about equal, so he'll take that every day.
7 serves 11.
As long as he can keep those kills equal to his unforced errors.
I don't know what you held your hand up.
I don't know what Brian's asking for there.
I don't know either.
What is he asking
This is
for?
gonna
He
be
made
very
a
interesting.
rollout, but he asked for something prior to the shot. What's he asking?
Maybe a screen. Maybe a wet ball.
You got a feeling of court hinder? Okay. If that's what the line judges will do, line judges, I call no court hinder. Brian Hawks appeals.
Okay, here's the serve. It hits the...
The ball skimmed
Yes, it
on the
definitely
serve.
took off. Yeah, that's what Brian was indicating. The ball hit a wet spot on the floor, and the ball
Yes,
took
there
off.
is. You can't appeal a court hinder. On a wet ball court hinder,
Even though
you
he
may
rolls
appeal
it
that
out,
call.
he's appealing his own shot there.
Line judges.
Doug Buchanan with the call. He is our referee.
It's appealable to the line judges. The ball definitely took off.
Okay, it is a replay, gentlemen. It is a replay anyway.
They're going to do it over. Even though Brian tried to call it, he rolled it out. He could have walked up and said, hey, wait a minute, I rolled it out. No problem. Court hinder, a little bit of water on the floor. Brian has been...
I'm sorry, Brian. It's a replay. One judge disagreed. Saw the skid. That's fine. One judge saw that. One did not. It's an automatic replay anyway.
Yeah, Brian's telling him, hey, no appeal. Let's play.
7 serves 11. First serve.
Now, that's a smart thing. Brian's indicating he wants a court hinder.
Yeah.
Again, hit the light.
Hit one of the lights and the trim up above, and that's an automatic. If the player feels it's a hinder, you go ahead and stop it.
See, Brian handled that serve a lot better. He didn't try to force it. He went to the ceiling with it. Earlier in the game, he was forcing it.
I tell you, a little bit of levity there, a little bit of a break, but this is not the time for Sherman Greenfeld to lose his composure and his thought process. He hasn't served very well there a couple times, and he's going to find himself in a tiebreaker.
And if it goes into a tiebreaker, he doesn't have any physical advantage over.
Oh, but he still has that confusing serve. 12-7.
Timeout.
Down the right side, Brian moves him to the left. That's the shot that Sherman was able to make in the first game. This game, he's leaving it up.
That's real interesting that no matter where on the court Brian Hawks has the shot and the potential for a kill, he crunches it rather than using any finesse at all. Well, they're in a timeout, and we're going to do the same here from the Linmar Racquet Club in Colorado Springs. You're watching Prime Network. Well, this is the first ever PIN World World Challenge Cup of Racquetball. And as you see, Brian Hawks is the leader in the second game, 12-7, after losing the first game to Canada's Sherman Greenfeld. And the outcome of this match could very well determine, Jim Heiser, the winner of the Challenge Cup. And Brian Hawks is really trying to throw this into the tiebreaker.
Well, Brian's had a good game plan. He came in, he powered to serve. He's been killing the ball, as you can see in the stats, 9-3, which is a complete reversal of the first game. And that's Brian's game. If Brian can kill the ball and power the serve in, he's going to win it. And he's been doing an effective job at it in the second game.
12 serving 7. Brian Hawks, out of Southern California, loves the outdoor racquetball game. 3-wall.
Off-speed serve.
There's been an appeal.
An appeal on that.
Call stands. That's
Call
2 appeals used. You have 3 left. Point.
I always look at the line judge to the side of the call, and he agreed with our referee.
13 serves 7.
2 more points, and we have a tiebreaker. Well, Sherman is not killing that ball. Sherman's leaving it up, and Brian has been able to re-kill all of Sherman's left-up shots.
Well, it's game point now for Brian Hawks, trying to throw it into the tiebreaker. And I go back to that time in between the first game when the USA coach went to the referee and said, please watch that backhand. We think it's a screen. And it really hasn't bothered Brian Hawks this second game.
Well, I think one of the differences also is in the kills. In that rally right there, Sherman had 2 opportunities to kill the ball, and he didn't do it. Now he's over the line again. It's going to be a false serve.
Screen.
Well, his butt was over that line again, so there is that screen.
But where the referee is positioned, it did look like a definite screen serve. Been a tremendous week for all the competitors staying at the venue over at the Olympic Training Center. Nice facilities, beautiful place. All types of the world's best athletes there at
nice
the
get off
center.
the back wall. See if Sherman can kill this.
He did. Call, Jim. He certainly did. Favored pinch up to the right front corner.
8 serves 14.
Let's see what he comes with here. Now, if he continues.
There's a nice get off the back wall.
Watch how he sets up for this kill shot. Hold up.
See how he gets that ball right there. That's the shot he's been missing. He hasn't been making that shot this game.
8.
Let's see what the referee will call from this body position.
Yeah, it's 2 in a row that he's made. Winterton's had, that was Coach Winterton with his notes on his knee. I'm sure one of those notes was to hit the ball straight down the lines. And good serve, though. That was a good serve.
Boy, nice touch on the ball.
Look how deep Brian was. He was trapped.
9
He couldn't get close to the front.
14.
Uh-oh, bat. Oh, hit the crack.
Yep. Good break.
Timeout, Brian.
Good call.
Timeout, Brian.
Brian Hawks trying to slow Sherman Greenfeld of Canada down. It's 10 serving 14. And if Sherman can win it, well, the match is over. Brian Hawks is desperately trying to throw this into the tiebreaker. And because it's an international event, I'll tell you once again, redundant though it may be, that when you go into the replay, the tiebreaker, I should say, then we are going to go to 15 points. We're in Colorado Springs. Again, enjoying a beautiful picture of the Olympic Training Center. We're on Prime Ticket, and we'll be back. Jim Turner along with Jim Heiser. We're in the second game. The Canadian Sherman Greenfeld has the serve, trying to catch up to the American Brian Hawks. The score is 10-14. And Brian Hawks cannot lose concentration now and lose this game. It's trying to throw it into the tiebreaker, still yet to be determined the winner of the World Challenge Cup of Racquetball.
Brian, you got 2 timeouts. Sherman serving. First serve.
Very even on aces. Power against finesse. No advantage there for either player. Yep, he did it. He's been putting that shot away since about 8, and it got him back into the game. Now it's a Cross court, another great get by Brian, going to the ceiling.
Yeah, but
he
the
leaves it
success
short.
coming because he has Brian on the opposite side of the court and on the floor. Boy, oh boy, is he playing smart.
Well, that's 11. Sherman never quits. He's always in
14.
any match that he plays, no matter what the score.
Come on, Brian, let's go.
Yeah, he's starting over top of that line again. Overcommitted again.
No screen.
All right, Brian, put this one out of its misery. Game point, serving 11.
He's going to crank on this. You can bet. Oh, tremendous retrieving. Oh, nice shot by Sherman. Going to wipe the floor up. As I was explaining earlier, well, we're going to go to a replay. Nice backhand cross court. Tremendous get by Brian.
Yeah, and in Sherman, right as he takes the rollout shot there, he finds the wet spot where his foot was slipping and asks for the towel boy to come on in. That towel boy is getting a little too much airtime.
Well, I think we have a little surprise here coming up for my co-host here.
Oh my God, look at that.
NFL star, third all-time scorer in the NFL.
Yeah, look at those cards. You know, they got a big sports card show. They're probably worth 9 cents. Look at that.
Well, you haven't changed much, I will admit that. Oh, I forgot you had pads on in those pictures.
Well, okay. Yeah. 16 years in the NFL. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. 7 with the Jets and 9 with the Denver Broncos. And Sherman again creeping up on the score. 12-14. I don't know who snuck those pitchers in, but we'll take care of Luke St. Onge later.
Uh-oh, bad serve. Oh, nice get. That's tough. Uh-oh, 13. I tell you, he's back into this game. One good serve here, and it could be match point.
Brian, if you've got a timeout, this is a perfect time to do so.
Nice get. Went to the ceiling.
That's your second, Brian.
Brian couldn't put it away, and that's a patented backhand.
Well, as I spoke, I said it was a good time for the timeout. Brian Hawks of the United States, who'd been losing points steadily here, has called that timeout. The score with Sherman Greenfeld with the serve is 13, serving 14. A reminder, this is the second game. Canada won the first one. So it's a nice comeback by the Canadians.
Well, Sherman's going to go to whatever serve. He was talking to both Roger Rippersad and to his coach, Gary Ness. I'm sure they gave him some strategy on what serve to use here. But
well, I think he'd go back to the serve that drove Brian Hawks crazy in the first game and early in the second game, and that's when he's standing close to the left wall and brings it back at himself that Brian has continued as a screen serve.
I'd probably go for that crack. I'll tell you, one good serve here and we could have match point. Well, he's not. He's going to the opposite side.
Serving 14.
13 serving 14.
Second serve.
Second serve.
I think Brian will come up on this one. He'll charge this. No, off the sidewall. Oh!
Boy, he had his opportunity, Brian Hawks did, and he lost it. When he pulled that one out of the air, he could have done it. We are
Hold the ball.
now at match point, as you said.
Well, that was a great shot by
Timeout,
Brian right there. Nice. Here, now this is tough. Look at that. He sliced that right in there. That's
Yeah,
a tough shot.
Brian Hawks had the opportunity to make it side out and have it game point for himself, but it's not. It's tied 14-14 with Sherman Greenfeld with the serve, and you only have to win by 1 point in racquetball. Hey, after this exciting timeout, we're going to be back with the game winner. We'll be back with you at the Linmar Racket and Health Club in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Well, Brian Hawks is really mad at himself because he had game point. He had 14-8 just moments ago. And as you see now, Sherman Greenfeld with the serve at 14-14. And you only have to win by 1 in racquetball.
He's
So
looking
here
at
we
that
go.
crack. Watch it.
Talking about
On the line.
a close call.
Boy, that was close. He has to appeal it.
He is.
I called the serve short. He appeals. Call stands. That's 3 appeals used.
So it's second serve.
Well, here we go. He's
Sherman
going to go to that high lob off the side
Second
wall.
serve.
Make Brian shoot from 39 feet. That's exactly what it is. Here it is. Roger Harippa said with the towel, he knew it because there it is. He has it right there. That's a shot, and he forced it up. Hit the crack.
We're going to be back for the exciting tiebreaker between the United States, Brian Hawks, and from Canada, Sherman Greenfeld on Prime Network. It probably is a natural tendency, this being the third game in the tiebreaker, for the pace to slow down a little bit, but Sherman Greenfeld of Canada wins the first game over Brian Hawks and makes a valiant effort to come back. He was down 14-8, and Brian Hawks had game serve several times, ties it up at 14-14, loses out, and we are in the tiebreaker, and it's 3-5.
That was a nice crack by Brian. Sherman was right there, but he couldn't get the ball. 4 serving 5. Nobody's really going out. I think this is going to be right down to the last couple of points, just like the first 2 games.
I'll tell you something. We've been sitting at .3, 4, and now finally into 5 for 20 minutes. Oh, my goodness. That's the third avoidable called in this match. Let's see how this one plays out.
Well, you just, if you're not going to call the other one, how can you call this one, Jim?
Sir, I called Brian Hawks' serve good. There's been an appeal, line judges. Call stands. Point.
I just don't understand that.
Yeah. Doug Buchanan is our referee residing here in Colorado Springs. I'm really not too sure whether I would have called that one an avoidable serve when they're bringing the ball right back at themselves. And it's a small court, only 20 by 40. 5 serving 5 in the tiebreaker.
There's that patented backhand pinch. 5 serving 5. Tried to jam him on the serve. Sherman went cross court. Brian left it up behind Sherman. Sherman pinches the ball.
Well, Sherman was successful with a shot that Brian failed on just prior. He really wanted that same kill.
Good return by Brian.
Stuck on 5. Brian Hawks with the serve. We're in the third game in the tiebreaker.
No aces. No aces for either person, and that's kind of surprising because they both have great serves.
Are you not crediting that possibly to fatigue, however?
Yeah, I think it is. I don't know what the percentage of first serves in, but usually if you have a high percentage of first serves in, you get more aces.
Well, he missed first serve there. It's second serve for Brian Hawks.
Oh, nice shot. Had a great view of that on the camera there. That was a backhand, perfect rollout.
Serves 5.
There it is. That was perfect. Nice flat shot. 5 serving 5. Sherman serving.
First serve. 2 serves for Canada, Sherman Greenfeld. Talking to himself. He was very successful with that in the first game. Really not confusing Brian Hawks at all in the last 2.
That was a nice get. Nobody can pull out. One person goes ahead a couple points, the other person comes back.
5 serves 5.
And it's all because there's really no pressure on the serve.
Skip ball side out, and we hope you're enjoying this exclusive presentation of racquetball from Colorado Springs on the Prime Network. And when you get to see us again, we're going to be in Phoenix, Arizona in October for the National Doubles Championships.
There's a percentage of first serves, and both players are low, around 50%, and that's an indication of why they haven't had any aces. Nice shot by Brian Hawks. Just back and forth, back and forth.
Tough to do when you're standing on the glass, to be able to crank it the backhand and roll it out.
We thought the first two games were long, Jim.
Well, they were stuck on 3 for quite a while. Now we've been on exchange of serves on 5 points for a long while.
There's Brian's best serve of the game. See, that's unfortunate for Brian because he had a great shot, had Sherman off balance. He barely got it. That's a good break for Sherman because that was a setup for Brian. First serve. Short serve. Second serve. Well, back and forth. 6 serving 5, point for Brian. Fault serve. Called a front line foot fault. Brian's just smiling.
Good call by Doug Buchanan. That ball was down even though Greenfeld came up and might have wanted to hinder. It was a rollout. It was down.
Well, it might be a good, there's a replay on that, and the ball was definitely down. There's no way that was the second bounce right there. It might be a good strategy for Brian Hawks to maybe change the pace and go to that lob serve because the Canadians do not short hop the ball. They let the ball go to the deep court, and Sherman's not killing it. Timeout, Sherman.
Sherman Greenfeld of Canada has called a timeout. Brian Hawks stands strong, and we have been able to get away from point 5. Stay with us. We'll be back with you on Prime Network from Colorado Springs. Jim Turner along with Jim Heiser. Our analyst, our statistician is Dr. Rhett Rainey. And again, a beautiful look at the facility at the Olympic Training Center. We're in the tiebreaker, the third game between Brian Hawks of the United States against Sherman Greenfeld of Canada. 5 serving 7. You know, now that's a good call because he was down on the floor. That was unavoidable.
Yeah, he had to make that call.
That's right.
Brian slipped on the floor and couldn't get out of the way.
We'll take another look at this, Jim, and you can take us through it.
Yeah, he slipped right there, and he was right in the direct path. And as a gentleman, Sherman held up, didn't swing, got the avoidable call.
But the rule is very clear on
Sherman
that.
was
If
serving
your
there.
opponent is down in front of you, then that's unavoidable, and you have the opportunity to make a shot.
That was a good call by Doug. Six serving 7. Skip ball.
Tied up at 7.
Yeah, we get one person goes ahead a couple points, the other person comes right back.
Sat on 3s for about 15, 20 minutes. Sat on 5 for a while. Now we're at 7.
And we get a side out.
I will agree with this with you, Jim Heiser, that they're tremendously conditioned athletes. And at this altitude, that's certainly going to tell on them. But I also believe they're both very tired. Short lack of first serve success, falling down. We've had avoidables almost back to back to back.
Well, it's been a long 3 days.
Yep.
This has been a tough match.
Well, you know, one school of thought would think that this would benefit Brian Hawks because he's such a finely trained and conditioned athlete. But we can't overlook the fact that stroke for stroke, Sherman is hung right in there.
Well, Sherman might not look as muscular
Yeah.
as Brian, but Sherman plays a lot of squash. Now, let's not forget, Sherman's game is really squash, even though he's a national racquetball player, national racquetball champion.
Crunch time on that one. A 37 feet of rollout on the forehand side.
Well, there's our 2-point lead. Let's see if he can extend it a little bit. First time we've had a 3-point lead since the very beginning.
Sherman slightly turning his ankle. We're going to see how this one plays out. The score is 10-7 with the lead Brian Hawks. They're going to dry the floor off a little bit.
He has his right ankle tape already. It's wrapped up a little bit there.
He really does. He has the tape and the special brace, able on an injury situation to come outside, maybe talk to his coach, Dr. Gary Ness, but we'll also see if this bothers his speed at all.
Let's see where it happens. Moves to the right side, and he just seems to turn it a little bit, put a little extra pressure.
Yeah, a little bit of an inversion move. Another look at the same play. Well, you never know. Sometimes the very slightest abnormal movement will even break an ankle or sprain it, but Sherman trying to get the motion back in and going to hang in there. But the point is that we are now with a 3-point lead for Brian Hawks, 10-7.
First serve percentage is about the same.
Side out.
Well, now Sherman, if pattern holds, will get about 2 or 3 points right here. There's one. 8 serving 10.
Brian Hawks looking back at the referee saying that was a screen. Please call it. There's a hinder. If you want to call it, there's a hinder. Yeah.
That was a good call by Doug. I like that call. It was a hinder ball, and Brian should have held up. And when he didn't, he had the straight-in shot.
It's a really good illustration. Nice, just beautiful as it's been all day.
He still had time to recover.
Yeah, but he takes the shot.
That's right. I think that's a good call by Doug.
One of the first things you learn when you're a novice, when you're a C player, open player, whatever, is if you're going to take the shot, when you want to hinder the body contact, don't take that shot. You're not going to get the call.
Hawks way ahead of unforced errors. There it is. A pattern holds back to 10-10. Brian's appealing that shot. He thought the shot skipped.
Brian's not going to appeal it. He's not going to waste an appeal.
10-10 timeout by Brian Hawks.
Tooth and nail, these two gentlemen are going, sitting on 3s, then 5s, then 7s, and now we're tied up at 10. The tie-breaking match, and certainly can help determine the difference here in the first ever Challenge Cup between the United States, Canada, and America. Along with Jim Heiser, I'm Jim Turner. We'll be back on the Prime Network. And there's the scene. We're in the tiebreaker. It's tied 10-10. Brian Hawks with just one timeout remaining, and Sherman Greenfeld with the serve. International rules take over here, and so we go to 15 points.
Well, Sherman in the service box. Let's see if he can put a little more pressure than he has so far. Get a defensive return by Brian. Oh, nice shot. Boy, he's got that shot down.
Well, he's got the shot down, but off the serve and a weak return, he is able to maintain center court, and that's exactly what led to the winning point there.
He wants Brian to shoot that ball exactly where he did it.
11-10. Boy,
12-10.
last point backhand to the front left. This time forehand from very deep on the court to the right front corner. Difficult shot.
Well, he's shooting the ball. These last two rallies, he's putting the ball away.
12-10.
There's another one. Brian wanted that to skip, but he's appealing it.
Who's to appeal, I take it. I called the shot good. He appeals. Line judges. Call stands. Point.
13-10.
Doug Buchanan. That's a tough one to call, but it was a good shot.
Serves 10.
Another setup. Four
Another
quick
point.
points. He better use that last timeout. He's got one left.
He's got one timeout left.
It's not going to do him any good.
No matter what happens. Well, he doesn't call timeout. Sherman Greenfeld of Canada calls timeout. It's game match point with Sherman Greenfeld of Canada with the serve. I think he's trying to make Brian Hawks sit in the court and think about what type of serve and what he should do. Take a look at this, Jim.
It's a real good serve. It hit right in the corner, came right along the wall. All Brian could do is pull it cross court, and there's his patented pinch shot into the front corner.
All right, beautifully done. Well, we thought Brian Hawks would have taken the timeout, and he didn't. Here's another look, another beautiful camera angle.
Well,
right on the wall.
We said all game, when you got that player behind you, pinch, and Sherman's doing a masterful job on it in these last 4 points.
Well, Sherman's talking to his coach, Dr. Gary Ness, and his teammates, and we'll see what serve they've come up with. It's game match point, 14 serving 10.
Well, he's probably going to go to that slice serve cross court to Brian's backhand. He did, just a little bit short. This will be interesting now. Pattern holds, you go to a high lob off the sidewall. Brian probably will not rush it. Oh, he changed. Changed up, surprised Brian, won the match.
Certainly did. And a victory for the Canadians, and congratulations to Sherman Greenfeld. Boy, did he make a valiant effort in the second game. He is down 14-8, brings it back to 14-14. As a matter of fact, he could have won it. He had a couple of game service attempts there, and he does it, but he comes back and wins the marathon tiebreaker. So congratulations to the Canadians, coached by Dr. Gary Ness, winning this men's open finals. And of course, Brian Hawks, ever the competitor, certainly went down valiantly, but you know what? All game long, it's the trickery of that backhanded serve. I think that really threw Brian Hawks off.
Well, the off-speed curve, that was the one that threw him off. Here's Brian getting some advice, or maybe some consultations from Tim Sweeney, his playing mate. But Brian has nothing to be ashamed of. He played a great match.
No, absolutely not. But what a nice victory for the Canadian Sherman Greenfeld. And we're going to be back here at courtside to talk to the victor, Sherman Greenfeld, in just a moment from Lenoir Racquet and Health Club in Colorado Springs, Colorado, on the Prime Network. Welcome back, everybody, to courtside here at the Lenoir Racquet and Health Club. Of course, I'm Jim Turner with Jim Heiser, and with our winner of the men's finals in the tiebreaker from Canada, Sherman Greenfeld. 15-10 was the score. And Sherman, I got a question for you. When you were down in the second game, 14-8, and you made the run back to tie it up, you had a couple of serves there. You could have ended it early. What was going through your mind?
Well, I've been relying on my backhand serve, and I guess in this match, it's they've been coming pretty good, and so I thought I could finish off that game and the match with that one serve. But, you know, I left it up a little bit, and Brian took advantage of it and won the rally out. But I felt comfortable that I was able to come back in that game and actually get the momentum going into the tiebreaker, and I felt really strong.
Jim Heiser with our analysis all day long. Jim, what'd you think?
Well, at 10-10, Sherman, your game came back. You made 5 pinch shots right in a row.
Well, that's experience. That's, you know, I'm a squash player, and I'm able to analyze the other player's game quite well. And throughout the match, my coach was telling me that, you know, you've got to play your game and use the splats, you know, to your advantage, because that's your game. And Brian was hanging back a little bit, so I thought in the last 5 points I stayed right to the game plan, and I used the front of the court more rather than passing him, which wasn't as effective throughout the match.
Well, Sherman, congratulations to you and your Canadian teammates. We'd like to tell everybody that the overall standings had the United States of America winning, #1, with 13 overall points, and the Canadians All the thanks in the world to Sherman Greenfeld on that with 9 points, and the Mexicans who really put on a great display of athletic ability, and they're learning this game tremendously under their coach Enrique Villagran with 2 points. In our next telecast, and we're going to be thrilled to bring that to you along the Prime Network, in October down in Phoenix, Arizona, the U.S. National Doubles, and Jim Heiser and I will be there. So for everybody, our cameramen and our technicians, and of course our producer, Brian Cooper, we're just glad you were with us and hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. We'll see you in October at the Nationals.